I quote from the Wisdom of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25, verses 17 and 19. The sadness of the heart is every plague, and the wickedness of a woman is all evil. A man will choose any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. Also verses 22 to 26. There is no head worse than a serpent's, and there is no anger above the anger of a woman. It will be more agreeable to abide with a lion and a dragon than to dwell with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, she darkeneth her countenance as a bear. Her husband groaned, and hearing he sighed. All malice is sure to the malice of a woman. Let the lot of sinners fall upon her. The church unanimously adopted Sirach as scripture for 1,500 years, and Sirach remains in Catholic Bibles. But today, everything in scripture that is politically incorrect is never read or discussed in church. Now for some quotes from early churchmen, the founding pillars of the Christian religion about women. Tertullian, circa AD 200. Woman is a temple built over a sewer, the gateway to the devil. Woman, you are the devil's doorway. You led astray one whom Satan would not dare attack directly. It was your fault the Son of God had to die. You should always go in mourning and rags. St. John Chrysostom, circa AD 375. Amongst all the savage beasts, none is found so harmful as a woman. Bishop Gregory of Nazianzus, circa AD 380. Fierce is the dragon and cunning the asp, but women have the malice of both. St. Jerome, circa AD 390. Woman is the root of all evil. St. Augustine, circa AD 400. Woman was merely man's helpmate, a function which pertains to her alone. She is not the image of God as far as man is concerned. He is by himself God's image. Abbot Odo of Cluny, 10th century. To embrace a woman is to embrace a sack of manure. St. Albertus Magnus, Dominican theologian, 13th century. One must be on guard with every woman as if she were a poisonous snake and the horned devil. In evil and perverse doings, woman is cleverer, that is slyer than man. Her feelings drive woman toward every evil. Martin Luther and later theologians had similar sentiments. Instead of using these quotes to dismiss the early church or Christianity in general, here are some three considerations. 1. These non-contextual quotes do not mean that men are not evil. They are. It is that people are fooled into thinking that women are sweet and good. 2. Women are only evil when they are allowed to dominate men or if they are allowed to regulate their own affairs, not if they are kept under subjection. The understanding is that women are more susceptible to the devil's influence since they are more emotional and less logical. For example, Countess Bathory, who tortured and murdered around 650 young women, then bathed in their blood. Despite men's evil, they have created and maintained great civilizations, while no civilization was ever matriarchal. 3. The sentiments of the early church fathers are vindicated by present-day circumstances. Here are some examples. Hateful paraphernalia exists, such as t-shirts and coffee mugs emblazoned with slogans such as, "The fastest way to men's hearts is through their chest," depicting a heart and bloody dagger. Authoress and journalist Natalie Angier's New York Times article began, "The most persistent and frustrating problem in evolutionary biology is the male. Specifically, why doesn't he just go away?" Quoting Andrea Dworkin, "I want to see a man beaten to a bloody pulp with a high heel shoved in his mouth like an apple in the mouth of a pig." Quoting Robin Morgan, "Man-hating is an honorable and viable political act that the oppressed have a right to class hatred against the class that oppresses them." With women's liberation, many women have become mannish, joining the Army and Marines, taking up martial arts and shooting sports, and carrying weapons. Numerous women have murdered their husbands for insurance money or have attempted to hire a hitman for that end. Regardless, millions of American women abuse the welfare system, which the government sponsors as a means of extortion to rob men. And millions of women murder their babies through abortion. On the internet, you can see a fetus aborted in the first trimester, cupped in the palm of someone's hand. It's clearly a miniature person. Now, there are numerous internet sites which discuss the phenomenon of women convincing or tricking men into being castrated and or mutilated. A site featuring extremely graphic pictures was Girls Castrate Me on Tumblr. Men get into the position of losing their testicles and sometimes penis as well under unsanitary, dangerous conditions, without anesthetic, without medical care or knowledge, for the purpose of perverse gratification. Any man who gets himself into such a position must be mentally handicapped or seriously mentally disturbed. If I had a son who was so victimized or victimized by being enticed into deadly drug addiction and losing his life, and the law failed to adequately punish the perpetrator, who is a predator on society's vulnerable, I would kill that woman. I would blow her away in the style of Charles Bronson's vigilantism as featured in the Death Wish movies. Fathers, if you were in that situation and failed to do likewise, you'd be mighty sorry if that woman did such things to yet another son. If people's evil is not stopped, they go on to victimize others, while yet others see what they have gotten away with, and so the number of active predators increases. Regardless, all married men should never associate with or have anything to do with a female that is not a family member, if at all possible. All single men should do likewise, with the exception of dating prospects, and should also eliminate most women from dating consideration regardless. But that is still not enough, as we must actively fight against feminism on all fronts. I believe there will be a literal Armageddon, an ultimate physical battle between the evil and righteous on earth before Judgment Day. I believe that the evil forces will be comprised of women and some perverted men who will attempt to destroy all real men. The righteous men will have to annihilate them to win the battle. So, be prepared!